Hey church, Pastor Ben here with your weekly update. Hey, it's hard to believe you may or may not be counting like we are, but this is now week 20 with us not gathering on a Sunday in our building. That's crazy. But God is pouring out His grace on this church. He's helping us to endure through this time. And I know that for all of you, your desire is not just to survive this and somehow just make it, sort of dragging yourself into 2021. You want to thrive in the midst of this. And that's God's heart for us as a church. We're going to be sending out a longer encouragement update video, hopefully by the end of next week. But today, let me just remind you right now of what you know is true, Summit. God has not stepped off His throne. He is still sovereign. He is still good. You know, this time is so hard for so many of us, but I want you to consider this week doing some self-evaluation, maybe some heart diagnostics. Now, maybe you've already been considering this. Maybe you're already super self-aware and you've thought through this, but let me ask you, what is your heart consistently experiencing through all of this? Are you overflowing with things like love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, self-control, or are you more marked by things like anxiety and anger and frustration and fear and impatience? Look, all of us are stumbling toward that first category of things and find ourselves constantly tripping over what marks that second group. But let me tell you, if we allow ourselves and we allow our thinking to be shaped by God's goodness toward us in the gospel, His Spirit is going to produce all kinds of that good fruit in us, fruit that's going to spill out of us and going to spill the life of Jesus onto people around us that so desperately need Him. And so I want to encourage you this week to turn your eyes and your heart upward toward Jesus. Well, there are a couple things coming up that I want to remind you of. Number one, in just a couple of weeks, Pastor Mike and the crew from API are going to be putting on their annual Lodwar Pastors Conference in Northwest Kenya. Now, last week we had a chance to catch up with Pastor Mike through an interview and hear more of the details of what's going on with that trip. Be sure to check that out in the video, in the link in the description below. Beginning August 10th, there are going to be nearly 100 pastors from Kenya and from other neighboring countries coming together in Lodwar around the theme, The Mystery Unveiled, a biblical understanding of the church. Now, this training is so valuable for these African pastors, and you, church, are a huge part of making it happen. The total cost of putting on a conference like this, including housing and feeding these pastors and covering all kinds of other expenses, is about $5,000. I wonder, would you consider playing a part this year in that conference? You can give financially directly to this project really easily through the web link in the description below, but you can also be praying for the conference by getting yourself signed up on the API prayer email. You know, we can't wait to hear when Pastor Mike gets back all of the reports of all that God is up to equipping His church across the globe. Number two, we want to remind you of our upcoming Sunday Night Live on the Lawn event, Sunday, August 2nd at 5 p.m. Now, Live on the Lawn is just a simple way for us as a church to gather physically, to see one another, to eat together, and to worship Jesus all side by side together. And so bring along your picnic blanket, bring your picnic dinner, picnic chairs, whatever's going to make you comfortable. We're going to sing. We're going to receive from God's word. We're going to worship together. Now, we'll be outside and we'll be social distancing. If you're comfortable with one, bring a mask along to wear. But whether or not you wear a face covering, we want to be thinking about how we can humbly, open-handedly, intentionally move toward each other and love and care for each other during this time. If you have any questions about any of that, or you have any other comments for us, don't hesitate to reach out to us at info@summit-christian.org and let us know. Have a great week, Summit family.